Got it. So we discussed yesterday, there are two types of testing techniques, static testing technique and dynamic testing technique. Static testing technique means you are not executing any code, just doing a verification, examining your application, whether that is present or not, or just you can do with the reviews, walkthroughs, and inspection meetings. That's a static testing technique. A dynamic testing technique is where you will execute the code and you will input something and you will examine the output with the expected result. That's what the dynamic testing technique. So dynamic testing technique, we have three types: black box testing, white box testing, and gray box testing. So black box testing again categorized into 5 types. One is equivalence class partitioning, boundary value analysis, decision table testing, state transition testing, and error guessing. And white box testing techniques, we have branch testing, statement coverage, decision coverage, and path testing. So these are the white box testing techniques. And gray box testing means the mix of the combination of black box skills or white box skills. Who is having, which tester is having black box and white box skills, both. That tester is called gray box tester. So black box testing means it's only functional testing or UI testing or front-end testing. That is a manual testing, basically. Manual testing, we call that as a black box testing or functional testing, a front-end testing. So this white box testing, basically coding related. Completely, you should have one programming language knowledge if you want to do white box testing. Without programming language knowledge, you cannot do white box testing. Okay, so that is the white box testing means. Okay, let's see one by one. What is mean by this black box? Black box testing, I told you already. So black box testing means you will mainly focus on external behavior of the application. So external behavior means you're opening an application. This is the front end that you are seeing. This is called black box testing, and you will do actions. So when you do action here, so it is throwing some error, right? You must agree to the privacy policy and all these errors. So this is you are doing a validations here. You're doing a validations here. That's a validation testing. Error messages you are checking. Each mandatory field, this is a mandatory field. This mandatory field, so without entering any data, if you submit the form, you're submitting the form. By clicking on continue means you're submitting the form. That's why you're getting a proper error messages. That's a one test case. Without inputting any data, if they give any page, so what you need to do, first test case is enter positive data, all the valid data you enter and submit. It should allow to move to next page. So then next negative test case, you enter the data without entering any data. This is the negative. I'm not entering any data and submit the form. Then it should not go to next page. It should display appropriate, meaningful error messages. Meaningful error messages. Can you see here? First name must be between 1 and 32 characters. Telephone between 3 and 32 characters. I don't know why telephone this many numbers. Okay, fine. Anyhow, And see here, password must between 4 and 20 characters. So this is the ranges they are giving here. And 2 to 10 characters. And city 2 to 128 characters. Address 3 to 128 characters. So these are all the limitation they are given, right? Boundary conditions they are giving, right? So this, if you want to test, and we are going to use and to write more test cases here, and you are going to use this black box testing techniques. Those are called equivalence class partitioning, boundary value analysis. These two techniques are applied for edit boxes. These are the text boxes or edit box, right? With a range they have given here. That means this should accept at least between 1 and 32 characters only. That's clearly they are saying. So it will accept only 1 and 32 characters. So that range you need to test it. How can you test it? How many ways you can test this field? Edit boxes. So that's a equivalence class partitioning means what? Let's understand what is this. Equivalence class partitioning. See, understand the meaning. Equivalence class partition. So partition means what? Can you tell me in English what partition means? What?
Separation.
Separation, right? So, and see, separation and equivalence. That means equally dividing, right? That's the meaning of equivalence class. The testing terminologies are exactly same as English words. If you understand the English words, you can answer in testing world also easily. So that means whatever the input range they are giving, that input range you divide equally. Each class should have the same range. See now 1 to 32, how you can equally divide this? Can you tell me?
16 characters.
So 1 to 16, one class. 1 to 16, one class, right? And 17 to 32, another class. Then 33 to above, another class. That means through total 3 classes I have generated for this. So that's equally dividing the input range. Otherwise, there is a more input data you want. You want to test multiple input data. Then you can divide one more way. So we divided into two times, right? 1 to 16, 17 to 32. And one third one is a negative case. We have taken 33 above, okay, or 32 above. You put 32 greater than, okay. That's another case. But I want more input classes. How you can divide? Instead of 2, how can you do more input data, more classes? How can you generate 1 to 32 more classes?
1 to 10, 11 to 20.
Is it equal, sir? All
Divide
the
4 into
8, sir. 8 4 is 32.
So I already told sir, equally how to have
8.
8.
partition. And you are giving a 2 piece for your brother. Will he accept? If you do 1 to 10, sir, is he going to give 1 to 10 one class, so then 11 to 20 another class, so 21 to 30 another? Then what you will do to 31 to 32 another class? Is it equal? Is it equal? All the classes having same range?
No. So we
Then
need to consider
where
1
you
to
are
8.
following this? Where you are following with this terminology? They told already, Arshini and Manju, I think, so they told, right? You have to divide by 4. 1 to 8, one equal class. Then 9 to, so another 8, right? You have to add another 8. So 8 means it says 16.
9 to 16.
So 9 to 16. Then 17 to another
24.
24. Then 24 to
30.
So these are the multiple equal classes. That's the equally dividing means. So any input range, you have to divide into equal classes. So that is called equivalence class partitioning. In that, see now, if you take, so 32 we are taking, right? So if you take a 32, so you have 1 to 32, right? So into equal classes means this is the one class. I am separating 2, 4, right? Now this one is 1 to 8, the first class. So then 9 to 16, another class. Next is 17 to 24.
25 to 30.
25 to
32.
32. So this is, see, any range, any class you take, 8 range, right? 8 range. That's the equivalence class partitioning means. Is this clear? Equivalence class partitioning means now? In that, now what is his requirement? He told 1 to 32 characters, it should, that field should accept. And this is the valid case or not?
Yes.
If I give 1 to 8, 1 or 8, so instead of testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, what you need to do? You don't need to test all the characters. You just test at a boundaries again. That's enough. And this is another equivalence valid case. This is another equal valid case. So valid case. And this is another equal valid case. But here, greater than 32 means, so this is an invalid case. So invalid case. So all these cases you have to test it. That's the testing techniques you are applying while writing the test cases. While designing the test case, you have to apply these rules, these concepts. So now you see you got a, so this many classes you have taken. As initially we discussed, you can divide by 2, right? So 1 to 16 you can do. That's one class, one equal class. Then second one is 17 to 32, second class. So this class also valid, and this class also valid class. And 32 above, greater than 0, greater than this, and above, this is invalid. Why invalid? He is clearly telling 1 to 32 only it should accept this field. He is telling very clearly. And so instead of testing in all the characters, you take any one range here, for example, 5 characters. If the 5 characters, if that field accepts, you don't need to test this, and you can make this class as a pass. If one input field it works, then this entire, you don't need to test the rest of the characters. Same, you take one input range here. So maybe I'll take 15. So if it accepts, I'll make it a pass. This class is pass, and this class is pass, and this class is pass. And even input range also, invalid case also, more than 32 if you give. So whether it is accepting or not, you check. If it is accepted, that's the bug. 32 above, if it accepts, 33 character it accepts, that's a bug. So you have to make it as a fail. Just I'm saying, if it, so accepting means that's a bug in the code. That means the developer didn't handle this rule, this business rule, he didn't handle. So he didn't handle this business rule. Okay. He didn't handle this business rule. Okay. He is not handling this business rule. That's a bug, right? That is a bug. So if he is handling, then this case also pass. So he is throwing proper error message. That means that case is pass. If he is not handling, this is a fail case, and he is not reading this business rule. This business rule he has to implement in the code. So this is how the equivalence class partitioning will work. You divide first. So first you have to tell what is equivalence class partitioning. Divide the input range into equal classes. In that equal classes, you label them valid and invalid classes. Instead of testing in each character, you take one input range from that class. If that input is accepted by the application, then that entire class is working properly. Then that this you don't need to test even in another characters. So then this class will work automatically. And this class also you pick one. So what we are doing, we are reducing the testing effort, and also effectively we are testing. Each class we are doing, and we are testing effectively. So this one is a more test data you are taking, and this one is a minimum. When you can use this format, when you can use this format. If you have a less time, use this format. When you have sufficient time, you take and test it thoroughly. Okay. So are you clear? So that's how we will generate more test cases. So what is equivalence class partitioning? Are you all clear on this?
Yes,
And
sir.
this example I'm taking.
Yes.
This is anywhere you go, apply this formula. It doesn't matter what application they are giving. If it is an edit box or a text box, first two techniques you have to apply. 1 and 2 for the edit boxes. How many of you know edit box or text box?
I know, sir.
Everybody knows?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. We'll do type action.
Yeah, to do a type action, basically, right? That's this equivalence class partitioning. So basically dividing the input range into equal classes, that is called equivalence class partitioning. And then you divide each class as a valid case or invalid class. So if you give a valid class 1 input range data, and it should accept. Then if it is not accepting, it's a failure case. So even more than the invalid case also, you give invalid case, 33 characters above 32, any characters. If it is accepting, that's a bug. Then it should say clearly, the field input range is 1 to 32 only, the error message you should display. Application should display. If it is not displaying that message, that is a bug. You file the bug. Okay? Clear?
Yes.
I'm erasing this.
Yes.
Okay, let's move on to the next. Boundary value analysis. The same thing we would have taken. Okay, boundary value analysis means, so testing the application input box field at the boundary values. You're testing the input range at the boundaries. At the boundaries means exactly starting position, ending position, in between that. So inside the input range, exactly at points, the points 1 to 32, right? 1 is a 1 point, minimum point. 32 is a maximum point. That's a at. That's a at means. And outside means 1 before 32 outside. That's outside, right?
Yes.
1 to 32 means what? So inside 1 and 32 in between. That is in. At means exactly at the points, minimum point, maximum point. Shall I get? Okay, good. We got it. See, 1 to 32 means this is the minimum point. And this is the
Yes,
maximum exactly at points. Let me write this again. So 8 means this is the exactly minimum point. This is the minimum characters you can give. And this is the maximum characters you can give. Right? So maximum characters you can give. So outside means this is the outside. This is the outside. Yet means this is the one. Exactly. Yet means exactly at that values. Inside means this is the inside.
within the range.
So these are the inside. So this is the inside. And outside means this is the one. Okay, clear? This is the outside. Okay. So this is the boundary value analysis or boundary condition testing means testing the input range at the boundaries is called boundary value testing or boundary testing, boundary condition testing. So in the boundary conditions, you will generate 6 values. So minimum value you test, maximum value you test it, minimum plus 1. Minimum plus 1 means 1 plus 1, 2. 2 characters also you take and test it. Then minimum minus 1, 1 minus 1, 0. So that means you are getting a 0 characters, 1 character, 2 characters. That's the 3 values I generated for this section. And this one I'm coming maximum. Maximum means 32. Then maximum plus 1. Maximum plus 1 means how much?
33. 33.
Characters. And maximum minus 1. That means
31.
31.
31.
So these are the 6 values you test it. See, it is covering all, right? Exactly boundaries. Inside the boundary, inside the range, and outside the range. That is called boundary value analysis testing or boundary condition testing. Is this clear?
Yes, Ramesh.
Yes.
How you are generating test cases, your test data also, and more test cases also you are generating. So you give input data exactly 1 or without any data. Without any data we tested, it is showing a proper error message, right?
Yes.
This is pass. And 1 character you give, whether it is working or not, you see. 2 characters you give, it is working or not, you see. 31 characters you give, it is working or not, you see. 32 characters, it should accept. 33 characters, it should not accept, but should throw appropriate error message. This is the testing how we are going to do. I'm giving all practicals, guys, how you can test one field, one edit box. So these are all edit boxes, right? These are all edit boxes we have seen here. All of them you have to follow these rules. Then why you are saying I am not experienced by? You apply. We have application. Go and apply there. All these conditions you apply and practice that. And somebody will say, I don't have a confidence. I don't like this. We are giving as much information, right? And why you are saying I don't have experience? This is what I experience. You go and practice this. Apply these rules, whatever I explained that. Try without characters. We tried now. That's why you are getting a proper error. That means that test case is passed. Then give 1 character. See, and I'm giving a data. Then it should accept. You should not get the errors. So that's the see, now you won't get all this if you submit. See, you are not getting the error message for these fields wherever you enter data. Are you getting any error message? Only you got for password, you got for the telephone, and you must agree to this checkbox we didn't check. So that means these are all you tested it, and try with 2 characters. So there is anyhow more than 2 characters, and all this try to test it. See, now you're not getting that. This is how you need to perform the testing. Any application you go, all these rules you follow. Okay, so that's the practicality. You go and apply. This is our application. Go and work on this and try to implement all these rules you apply and test it. So these rules, these are 6 values it will generate if there is a input range. So these 2 techniques are used only when there is a edit box. When there is an edit box, you cannot use these techniques for other fields. If there is no input range, you cannot use this. Okay, that's the first 2 cases. And see, so I have generated and also try to test without any characters. So always first thing is, if they give the field like this, the form page, if they given, you have a drop downs, you have a check boxes, you have a radio buttons. So first valid case you tell first. In the interview also, first we'll provide a valid input data, then we'll submit the page. That's a first test case you have to tell. Enter all the fields with valid data, all the mandatory fields. See, this is the mandatory field. So you have to say enter valid input data for the mandatory fields and submit the page. Then it should allow to navigate to next page. That is the first test case you have to tell. Generic, any page they have given, this is a generic test case you can tell. Then second test case. Don't give any data for the mandatory fields or any fields and submit. Negative case. Then it should display appropriate error messages for the fields, for the mandatory fields only. See this, for this field it is not throwing. This is not a mandatory field. How can you say this is not a mandatory field? Facts and company.
It doesn't have the asterisk.
Star. The star means it's a mandatory field. Star is not there, it's an optional field. Optional field means you can give or you don't need to give. You can give or you don't need to give. Not necessary to give. So this is the how you can test a second test case. Then you give more than the input range. That's another negative case. Like this, you need to tell the test cases. And click on all the links. For example, you want to go to, so without selecting any radio button or without checking this checkbox, you try it and see you are getting the warning message. You must agree to the policy. So that warning message should display, appropriate error message should display, and the drop downs. So drop downs, you select any one option, right? That options you should be able to select an option from drop downs. Without selecting, it should not allow to the next pages. So these are the test cases you need to say, and also labels, all the, what other test cases you can tell. Apart from functional test cases, there is a graphical user interface test cases. The alignment. See, they started alignment, this design, and ended here exactly same line. All the alignment is proper. You need to check alignment is proper or not. And font size same or not. Labels are aligned. See this, all the fields are aligned same level. Can you see this? This is called alignment. And consistency. The messages they are displaying consistently. And in next test case, UI test case, you have to check after alignment, consistency. The font size and alignments, all the fields, placements aligned, properly aligned. That's alignment to consistency you have to check. And font size also proper or not, you have to check. Any spelling mistakes are there or not, you need to check. And tabbing, for example, tabbing, if I do a tab from left to right or top to bottom, it has to go. See, this is the top to bottom it is going. I'm pressing the tab key. This is the tab key, also another test case. It should go properly in the top to bottom or left to right. So it should not jump. It should not jump here to again. It should not jump here. If you press the tab key in the keyboard. So check the tab order is proper or not. Alignment is proper or not. Consistency is there or not in the error message displaying and labels display and controls. So these are the controls. The control display and the font size is proper or not. Font color is proper or not. Height and width is proper or not. All this you have to check as part of GUI testing, graphical user interface testing. That's not functional testing. Functional testing means you are entering the data, doing action. That's a functional testing. But GUI testing is different and functional testing, but all comes under black box testing only. Okay. This is the how you will test that. Okay. So here, let's move on to the password, how you can test. So suppose here we have a password, right? The password, how many characters? 4 to 20 characters. That means, so can you tell me boundary conditions? What are the test cases you can tell here?
3, 4.
Equivalence is 4, 4 5s are 20.
5.
That is okay. Then boundary conditions.
0 to 4, 4 to
4.
That's equivalence class
3, 4,
participant.
5.
I want boundary conditions.
Boundary is
5,
19, 20,
19, 20, 21.
3.
4,
What are
5.
the minimum? First minimum conditions, tell me.
3, 4, 5.
3, 4, 5.
3, 4, 5. And maximum
19, 20, 21.
19, 20,
19,
21.
20, 21. So
21.
in this 3, 4, 5, what are the valid and what are invalid?
Valid is 4, 5s are invalid is 3.
That's it. So here 21 is invalid and 20 and
19, 20
19 are
valid.
valid.
And also without data also you have to test another case. Remember always without data also you have to test another test case also you have to mention. So leave the field blank and see how it behaves. That's another test case. So this is the boundary conditions you can apply and test this, and these are the test cases you can write, how you can tell. So these are business rules they have given. Suppose assume that 6 to 20 characters, assume here, or 12 characters, whatever it is. This is the business rule they will give in the requirement document like this. So password should contain at least one uppercase letter. Password should contain at least one number. Password should contain at least one special character. That means every password should meet first this one, and this one, and this one, and means what? First you should know that. What is mean by and?
Must satisfy all the
Both we
conditions.
have to
All.
follow.
It should meet all.
Both rules we
Should
have to
meet
follow.
all, should meet all. That means the password, whatever you are given, length should be between 6 and 12, and one uppercase in the 6 and 12 characters, whatever you are giving, one uppercase must be there, one number must be there, one special character must be there. If any of these fails, that's not a valid test case. Clear? That's how you need to write. First valid case, you tell valid case. Valid case, what is that? So verify entering password. First, see, I'm telling you, verify entering invalid password less than 6 characters. So less than means invalid only, right? Verify entering the password. You don't need to say invalid, but you can say verify entering password more than 12 characters. See, second test case I generated. See, based on that, the boundary conditions, I am generating the test case. This is the one test case. This is another test case. So verify leaving the password field blank, another test case. This mandatorily include. You include mandatorily this one. Okay. And verify entering valid data in the password field. That means 6 characters or 12 characters or 6 and 12. So this is the valid test case with all these conditions. Then verify entering only numbers in the field. That means I'm not following this one and this one, this condition. That means valid or invalid, this one, this test case.
Invalid.
I'm entering only number. Number is not the one, right? You is very clearly telling there
One
should be one
uppercase
uppercase letter,
letter.
one special character. These are missing here. That's why this is invalid case. So it should pass, but thing is you should get a proper error message. You should get proper error message. Verify entering only alphabets. So is this meeting this condition?
No.
So this is also invalid case, and but you should get, if you enter only alphabets, it should say, okay, so please enter valid password. It should get a message for you. So verify entering only special characters. This is also invalid, but it should accept. So it should throw an appropriate error message. Okay. Verify entering only alphanumerics. That means I am taking alphanumerics means what?
Alphabets and numbers.
Characters and
Alphabets
numbers mixed.
And
And
numbers.
numbers.
So only alphabets and numbers only, no special character. That means this criteria is not matching. So this is also invalid case. Yeah, this one. Invalid case, but valid test case. Test case is valid, but invalid test data you are giving. So verify entering alphabets and special characters. See, combination I'm taking again. This one and this one, I'm ignoring this. That means it is not meeting my criteria. Again, this is also another valid test case. And you give, and if you give alphabets and special characters, you should not allow. So verify entering numbers and special characters in password field. So verify entering without uppercase letters in the password field. See, everything I covered here. So there is a possibility, right? All these cases can be given, right? The user. See, I thought of thinking all this different people's perspective and generated these test cases. Okay. I have generated these test cases. So all these test cases you have to write like this. This is the test case writing, how you need to write. This is the test case type, how to write. Okay. Any questions here?
I have one question, maybe that will be silly, but whether we need to mention for the invalid also, we need to mention checking the in range between, for example, you have written entering special characters in the password field in between 6 to 12, like that, whether we need to mention, or it is invalid, but whether we need to mention, that is one of the questions.
That will be clear also, right? It's up to you. You enter 6 to 12 or more than 12 also, it's invalid, right?
Yeah.
You enter alphanumerics means or special characters means it's invalid completely.
Yes. Yeah.
It doesn't matter you enter in the 6 to 12 or more than 6 to 12 also.
Okay.
You enter more than or less than or whatever it is, it should throw proper error message for you at the end of the your testing.
Yeah, and one more thing, I have one more question about the GUI, graphical user interface. So when we are pressing the tab button, there is in between the screen which you have shown, there is a fax. Fax is not a mandatory. So when we click on the tab button, it should directly go on to the mandatory fields, or it should follow the process.
Each and every field it should go. See that?
Yeah.
It doesn't know, right? A tab doesn't know it's a mandatory field or not. If the user wants to enter data there, you cannot skip, right?
You can. Yes.
That's why it's every top to bottom order it should go. It should not skip anything, whether it is a mandatory or not mandatory, it doesn't matter there. The tab should go to top to bottom or bottom to
Bottom.
left to
Left
right.
to right.
So it's a mandatory, you should follow that. See, it is going now here and so all. Now it is moving left to right, right here. First selected this, then checkbox, then continue. So top to bottom or left to right. That's the order. You have to go in the order only. See if I go and it go to here, then where it is, we have to see that. It's not visible now. I think, yeah, here it is coming. Right? See, coming here, left to right is following, right? So that's the tab order. You have to test it. Okay. While telling you the test cases, you have to give this UI test cases also along with the functional. These are all functional test cases. They're all functional test cases. And the GUI test case, I'll give you a set of GUI test cases, how to test all those things, and we can proceed that. I'll explain again. Yeah.
So like while we are testing for the first name field, so the other fields like we need to give the valid data, right? So then only like we can able to say, for example, if
combination you are saying, different combination. This valid and this you are leaving blank, right? Invalid.
no,
like
no,
that.
no. Like my question is like for the first name field, if we are checking all the possible cases, like whether it is valid or invalid. So for testing that field, we need to give the rest of the fields like last name, email, like all the mandatory fields we need to enter properly, and then only we can able to test the first field properly.
Here I didn't, so even if you don't enter also fine, right here. That mandatory field message, you will get it.
Okay.
Right?
So yeah.
So you will get that this mandatory field message, you will get it. You got it right now here. See, you are getting a message for this also, whichever you are not entering data. For entering data, it should not enter. You should not get. It is a valid input. If it is a valid input, that's why it is not displaying an error message. Here, no data, that's why it is displaying a proper error message. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's up to you. So whatever the data you enter, for that you should not get the error message. Even though you enter error proper data and you are getting error message, that's a bug again. Okay? Clear?
Yes. Yeah.
You entered valid data, but still it is showing error message. That's a misguiding the user, right?
Yes.
Yes.
User will confuse. User will confuse.
Okay, it's not like if we are testing for the first text field, like it's not mandatory that we need to enter all the proper data in the upcoming fields, right? So whether we can enter or we can leave it, correct?
Yeah.
For the last name, email, and telephone, those things I'm telling.
You test this. If it is not getting a error, so the appropriate error message means that it is accepting.
Okay.
For example, more than 32. I'll test that also. I'll take, how can you count that? Open your Word document. (32 characters we want. I think it is there. You can count what's the length. So one space is there everywhere. That means 3. 3, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 33. This is enough. So you give this. It's not giving. That's a bug. See, more than 32 characters. I'll give otherwise one more otherwise. Now it is, I think it is, we haven't entered. See, Now I have given more than 32. That's why you're getting, this is the valid. The test case is passed. So your expectation is it should get more than 32 if you enter.
Mhm.
You should get this error message. That's your expectation. It is meeting expectation, right?
Yes.
Invalid means not failed. You should not fail. Invalid test cases, you are validating the code. Whether they handle this use case, this test case or not, you are testing.
Yeah, correct.
Invalid means not a failed test case. Please guys understand. Invalid is one powerful test case to test the developer code, whether he handled this range he handled in his code or not. You are checking very clearly. Invalid test case means not a failed test case. Not necessary it should fail. So you are checking, this is the message you are expecting. If you enter more than 32, you are getting right. That means it is passed, right? Application is throwing error message. You are
Yes.
expecting also this error message. Both are matching. Expected and application behavior. Both are matching. Then test case will pass. How can you say test case is pass? Application behavior. What is your expectation? Both are matching. Then test case status mark as a pass. I hope I am clear. Or still anybody having doubts?
Sir, while giving password,
Hmm.
we add space. Is it valid or invalid?
Invalid.
So what the business rule you need to read, ma? In the
Okay.
business rule, especially a space is a special character, right?
Okay.
Space is a special character or not?
Yes.
Yes.
Special character. So if he is telling the password is going to have special character, means space is valid then.
Okay.
Space is valid a special character, right? You can add a, but make sure you're giving that also you can test it.
Okay.
So that's what you have to think a different people perspective here while testing. That's what I'm saying from the beginning. So we don't know, right, which user you thought now, okay, sir, what will happen if I give special space, white space? There is a possibility that maybe by mistakenly you pressed the tab key, or you by mistakenly you pressed the space bar key, then the space will come, right?
Yes.
Then you have to observe that, how application behavior is that. So here more thing is while testing, more observation is important. So how application behavior is there for your actions. Every action, what is the application behavior? You have to observe. That behavior is matching your expectation or not. Where you will get this expected output or expected result? From requirements.
Requirement document.
Requirements and user stories, and they will give there. And some of them you already come to know global standards. Global web application standards will be there. So everything they won't give the standards in the requirement document. Requirement related they will give. But other testing technique standards, these are also alignment to and displaying proper error messages and consistency and color. So if the error messages should be in red color. These are all global standards. Any company you go, they have to follow this. They have to follow this. And these global standards, they won't give in the requirement document. You, as a tester, you should know that. That's why we are learning here. These are all the any warning messages. Right? Warning messages should like this. Warning will be there. And that means this is error message. That's why slight red color they're showing. This is how they need to follow the standards. And the consistency, alignment, see, all are aligned left. So this is the consistency. And font size also consistently, see, same font size. This is the consistency. Error message is consistency. And this controls are designed properly, same length they have given. See, same length. See, it is not moving here and there. If it is going beyond that, that's alignment issue, right? And all this you can, these are the global standards that, so nobody will give you in the requirement. That you should know. Tab order on this, clicking on the link, it should go to next page. That's a global standards. Okay. So that you should know that. That we are learning here as a tester. Okay. So, and the task for you is, so this is the task for you. Write the test cases same way, this way. You write the test cases and send it to me. What are the test cases you need to write? Write the test case for below requirement. What is that? Must contain 6 to 12 characters, must contain both upper and lower case characters, must contain numeric characters, must contain special characters, should not contain username or first name or last name. This is the extra business rule I added for the above. So I want to see how many of you write extra test cases for this. Apart from this, you start writing extra test case for this business rule. Remaining all same, right? This is all same. I have given on the top. And this business rule, you have to write the extra test cases. I want to see how many of you can write extra test cases here. Okay. See, read this multiple times, you will understand. Should not, that means your password should not contain username or first name or last name. So what is mean by this? Can anyone explain this? What is meaning of this?
While giving password, we should not use our first name like our.
Well, yeah, go generic. Okay, not necessary.
Yeah, we use that. We use our name, right? That one we cannot use, and we cannot use our
last name.
name.
And also username.
Username.
So that means your password should not contain the username values, first name values, and last name values. That you need to add the extra test cases. Okay. Next, second task. Write the test case for mobile number. Mobile number, how many numbers will be there?
10.
10.
You can think and write the test cases. Yeah. But extra you add. I want to see how many test cases you can add. So apply. Verify entering 10 numbers in the mobile number. This is a valid case. Verify entering more than 10. Verify entering less than 10 numbers. Verify leaving mobile number field blank. I have given the high level, but you add more here. So I want to see how many people can add more test cases here. Okay.
Sir, we should write EI test cases also, sir, or only functional test cases, sir?
Functional test cases. Functional test cases.
Okay.
Only functional test case you add. Okay.
Okay.
That's all about boundary value analysis and equivalence class partitioning. Clear? Any questions before going for a decision table testing? The whole class we discussed only 2 techniques. I think it's useful, right? So you got some idea now how to test. I hope.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You can tell the test cases also now if you enter into any interview also.
Sorry to interrupt, Ramesh, because when we are attending interviews, this point will be covered in every interview. When I have attended, first they'll be asking about these 2 points only. How you will be dealing with that? It is much important.
Yeah, thank you, Sushil, giving a good valid point. See, please guys, see that. That's why I spent 1 hour on these 2 techniques only. This is the mostly used techniques to while designing the test cases. That's why I told you, right? First itself you will design the test case, right? Designing the test case time, you will use these techniques to write the test cases. Okay. Yeah, good. So any other points? Are we good? Shall I move or we'll stop here?
Ramesh, like what was Sushil's question? Like my
No, Sushil is telling in the interviews he is attending, right? They will ask first
Yeah.
these two only.
Okay.
Boundary, what is boundary validity? What is equivalence class partitioning? This is a mandatory interview question, this one. What is
Okay.
equivalence class partitioning? What is boundary value analysis? And how you will generate the test cases? You tell that whatever we discuss now, you explain the same thing.
Okay.
That really
Thank you.
helps you. Right, Sushil, you are telling that point only, right?
Yes, Ramesh. Yeah. First, they'll be asking about how you write the format. For example, when I have attended the interview, first they have a basic question. Anyway, we'll be asking about tell me about yourself. After that, how you write the format of the test case. Next will be the equivalence class partition. How you will divide the next boundary value analysis. How you will be testing. How you will be writing the test cases for that. What are the conditions or what we need to consider for that? They are asking.
Yeah. So you got all the answers now, right?
Yeah. Yes. Thank
Yes.
you.
That's what the thing. Okay, good. So we'll meet this decision table testing next week because this is a little bit bigger. Okay, already 8:37. I'll stop here. So